Rev up your engines! Now, people are always asking me, what about giant SUVs with third row seating? Well, you're gonna learn the truth about Toyota Sequoias. This is an '07 Toyota Sequoia. Got the big V8 engine. Now it's only rear wheel drive. There's no front wheel drive on it. You don't need that with all this weight. Got plenty of traction. And as you can see inside, a lot of room in the front. Yeah, the leather seat's worn and torn a little. It's gonna happen when I get to be this old. And we open the back door, and what do we find? The baby seat. There's plenty of room. Got the nice leather seats and then more seating. And we're not talking about tiny. Look, there's leg room here. This thing has a lot of space. As we open the back, we'll get an even better view. We got a nice cargo space here. Then we got the third row seats. Now, of course, if you take the third row seats out, then you got even more room. And if you move those forward, you got even more room. Kind of like a truck, really. Got the original Toyota hitch on it for towing. And as we can see on the top, got a big old luggage rack. Now, when it was new, this baby was about $36,000. Now, my customer recently purchased it. He's going to export it to Africa. He paid about $5 grand for it. Pretty good price for a solid vehicle like this. But when we go inside, we'll check the mileage. It does have 184,000 miles on it. Now, I have seen them with 500,000 miles on them, so they can last a long time. We'll see how this baby starts up. Turn the key. Starts right up. Now, back in the day, it didn't come with much, so somebody stuck a Pioneer stereo in it, but it still got freezing cold air conditioning in it. Nice cool air. Big old sunroof. And check this out. It's even got an entertainment system on it. This was a top-of-the-line vehicle when it was new. And being a Toyota, everything pretty much still works. It's older, so it's still got a pretty much utilitarian steering wheel. It's just got the cruise control, nothing else. And just a plain old interior. But I mean, look at the space. Look at the design. This baby has a lot of space. And look at the leg room. And as we check here, look at this. It's got rear AC and heat controls too. This is a luxurious SUV. But it is 13 years old, so let's look at the data, okay? We got no trouble codes here, so let's look at the raw data, where they can't hide anything from you, at least for me. Here we go, live data. This is where the rubber meets the road. I can see what shape this vehicle actually is. I'm scrolling through, and so far everything looks pretty good, but we're gonna get pretty deep here. Short-term fuel trim. Each bank is pretty close to each other. They're just a little bit off. Something with this much mileage that's only subtracting a tiny amount of fuel like that and pretty much evenly to both cylinders is in excellent shape. From my experience with these, if somebody wanted to perform a full fuel injector cleaning service where I put my pressurized machine on, it would probably make the short-term fuel stop having to subtract stuff, because it would be spraying less fuel in. They all drip a little bit as they get a little bit aged. Now we look at the target air fuel ratio, 0.996. Now 1.0 is perfect, so it's pretty close to perfect for an old vehicle like this. And check out the variable valve timing. If you remember the Genesis I did a short time ago, they both were supposed to be 0, 0, and then when you look at what they were way off. It's still 0. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's perfect. As I showed on that Genesis at idle, the degrees were changing. They should remain at 0 when it's idling. This thing actually has more mileage than the Genesis had on it, by about 80,000 miles, yet it's still 0, perfect at idle. Shows that Toyota is making a much better engine than the Genesis has in it. We checked the misfire counts for them all 8 cylinders, they're all 0. That's perfect. So for such an old vehicle, it's in immaculate shape. Now let's check under the hood. And what do we have under here? Big old 4.7 liter V8 engine. But do realize this is a big, heavy vehicle. 13 miles a gallon in the city and about 15 miles a gallon on a highway. They are gas guzzlers. There's no ifs and buts about these things. Most of my customers that own them, they never check their gas mileage. I ask them, well, what kind of gas mileage are you going to say? It's got to be so bad, we don't even want to know. We just fill it up with gas all the time. But with the coming recession and oil prices going down, hey, gasoline is going to be cheaper for quite some time, it looks like. Now, being a Toyota, hey, they don't break down that often, but one big disadvantage of this V8 engine is. They hide the starter way under there. You got to take the intake manifold, the top of the engine off to replace the starter. Bad design for sure, but I got my borescope out and looked at this. It still has the original starter on it. At some point in time, that'll have to be changed, and it's an expense because of that design. But it's not a reason not to buy a vehicle. The anti-lock braking system still works perfectly. Heck, it's still got the original radiator and it's not leaking. And look, here's something you won't even see today. The headlights are still clear. And the new ones, oh, they fade pretty fast. They even used to make the headlights better. These are plastic ones. The new ones are cheaper. And as you can see under the front, coolers galore. Special coolers here. Got a coolant fan for the AC condenser. Got a big old fan for the engine. Huge. I got friends that live in deserts. They love these things. They don't overheat. They are made to take high temperatures and throw that heat out. Even the wheels are holding up. I mean, they ain't clean and they're dirty, but hey, front and back, they're still solid. A few hits on a curb, but you can polish that off if you want. Let's close the hood and take it for a spin. Solid hood too. Corner's pretty smooth. Yeah, it's a big truck, but step on the gas, see what happens. Now that's a big V8 engine, but it is heavy. It takes off, but you know, it's not a race car. You can go fast, but it's awful top heavy. I would not advise racing around in these things like a maniac on curves. Ride's good. Let's hit these big bumps in the road. See, I mean, it handles them pretty well. It is a truck after all. I mean, it's not going to ride like a Lexus, but it handles the bumps quite well, even with all this mileage on it. And look at this. 184,000 miles, still idles, no shaking. This is a quality giant SUV. There's no arguing that. Hello! It's got cavernous room here. So now you know the truth about Toyota Sequoias. And if you're looking for a big 3-row seating SUV, hey, it might be what you're looking for, if you don't mind expensive gas bills. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, Volvo and Technology's in the news here. Volvo just recalled 121,000 cars after the auto emergency braking system failed. Now those automatic emergency braking systems, great when they work, but if they can't detect the obstacles, they're not going to work all that well, are they? Now this is for 2019 to 2020 S60, V60, V60 cross country, V90, V90 cross country, XC40, XC60, and XC90. Basically, it's their whole lineup. Turns out that this automatic emergency braking system has a hardware and software incompatibility issue that keeps sensors from identifying objects. So if they don't see something, they don't do emergency braking because they don't know anything's there. As per usual, I'm warning you ahead of time. They're actually not going to start recalling these things until May. It's only March now. So I'm always amazed that we can get this information that there's this problem, they're going to recall them, but they don't recall them for months. To me, there's something wrong with the system here. So if you own one, don't count on that automatic braking system to be working. Use your feet and your eyes and your brain when you're driving. All these automated systems, hey, they're still not perfected, obviously. I mean, they look cute on the selling thing and their little ads to show up saving people's lives, but in the real world, you got to use your eyes and your brain and your feet to slam on the brakes when's necessary. Like I've said many times, all these automatic driving stuff, it's going to be a long time, if ever, that they perfect the things. Caleb E756 says I got a 2007 Honda Accord. The airbag's deployed, I had them changed, and the car's been fixed, but my SRS lamp is still on. Well, it's a Honda. And unfortunately, there's a thing called the SRS unit. It's usually around the center console. And whenever the airbags are deployed in a Honda, you have to replace that unit, and it has to be reprogrammed by a mechanic. So I'm assuming you had insurance because you said that was replaced and the repairs were done. Take it back, make them pay for it, and basically scold the people who worked on the car. Because if they know anything about Hondas, they should know that whenever the airbag's deployed, you got to replace that SRS unit. That's how Honda designs them. And if you don't replace it, the light's going to stay on. So let the insurance company pay for it. They should have done it correctly. And the guy who did the work on the stuff is a shoddy mechanic who doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to airbags. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.